Welcome to the Spinoza podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Alex Spinoza. I forgot my own fucking name. Anyways, let's just get into it today.
I love how we were all waiting on you, and then you put your phone down, and you're like, "Ready?"
Let's go.
We're like, "Yes,
I was in it. I was in
yes,
it.
we're ready." Today's
Right.
podcast is going to be,
Sponsored by Sugar Llamas.
yeah,
Is that what we were talking about?
yeah. I didn't put the donuts in the shot
Yeah,
though.
we talked about Sugar Llamas in the last long podcast. This is a place, Sugar Llamas, one of Shaq's favorite places out here in Heath, Texas. Shout out. I don't get anything from them. Hopefully, I fucking get something from them by shouting them out on this podcast. So all 12 of you who don't live local can talk about Sugar Llamas.
They do share when I post because I will post the pictures and tag
Yeah.
the podcast up. They will share it.
Yeah,
They'll
because the
share-
kids who work there are like 12. Like,
maybe
like the
Shaq
family that
saw
works
it
there.
at
They're
some
great
point.
people.
So today's podcast is going to be it's called Play the Long Game. And you've talked about this before. We're going to revisit it and dive deep into how visiting Stonehenge actually shifted your experience about your mindset on building business and just life itself. So we're going to start there.
Let's do it. So I went to my first year of medical school at St. George's University. I went to the first year, actually, was a part of an abroad program that you can apply to and get accepted into. And so the first year of medical school, year and a half maybe, I don't know, it's been so long ago, I spent studying in Northumbria University, which is in Newcastle, England. It's northern England.
Mm.
It's on the border of England and Scotland. Across the border is Edinburgh. But it was a awesome eye-opening experience being able to study in Europe, traveling around Europe on the weekends. And one of the weekends, I went and drove down to Stonehenge. Now, for those that don't know, Stonehenge is in the middle of nowhere, and it is one of the most written about, talked about, and studied places on Earth. It at one time I think was one of the seven wonders of the world, or eight wonders of the world. Nobody knows really how it was built. The stones that it was built with are just far too large for any tools or processes that they had back then. There's the concept of magic, there's the concept of aliens, everything surrounding this. And the cool thing is that there, back then, there was the opportunity, and I don't know if there still is, but there was the opportunity to go an hour and a half early and pay with a special tour guide to walk around Stonehenge, to walk around the stones and sit there. And I still have photos of this, and I posted them a few times before, but it was insanely cool. When we drove down there, it was like 6:30 in the freaking morning, dawn, the sun was just rising, and we were able to walk around the stones of Stonehenge and sit in the middle of the like circle that Stonehenge was built, and it was just cool. It had like a vibration to it. The place had like a vibration to it. It was absolutely wild. And so I studied a bit more, just historically how they built Stonehenge and who built Stonehenge and all that stuff. And the interesting thing is that Stonehenge wasn't built like by one civilization at one point in time. It was built through like centuries. It took centuries to build Stonehenge the way it is now. And even then, like it's there's pieces of it that are falling apart. We don't know, they don't know like what happened at any given time. But the interesting thing is each generation had added something or changed something, and still it's mathematically perfect based off of the stars. The way that it was built is mathematically perfect. I mean, obviously as a structure, it's lasted centuries. And it still stands today. And it hit me like most of us live like we're trying to build something like Stonehenge in a summer, or 12 months or 18 months or 2 years. And you think you're going to build this thing that is has this vibration, has this aura, and everybody knows about it and everybody wants to visit it. And it's the same right now. We want to go viral. We want to hit, 100,000 followers. We want to hit eight figures within 6 months of opening a business. And you want to scale as fast as possible. And what that leads to is essentially a structure that crumbles over time. And the truth is, it takes time to build anything that's worth really like a shit. I don't even know what phrase to use at this point. It's going to take centuries to build it. And again, businesses, we don't have centuries, but you have to think of it in the long term play as well as the short term. So every day you're working hard, you're pushing, you're creating, structures or iterations, effort every single day, but realizing at the same point that's going to compound over time. That's going to compound over years, over decades. And that's a theme that I've seen in business as well is that you'll see these guys that are sprinting out of the gates and they go as fast as possible and they make as much money as possible, cutting corners here, there, and everywhere. And all those entrepreneurs are gone in 5 years. Every single one of them are gone. I mean, there's entrepreneurs that I looked up to the first year of Arate. I mean, probably five of them have been hauled off to federal prison. And then another 50% of them have been just pushed by the wayside. They haven't grown, they haven't improved, they haven't done anything. So we put all these people on a pedestal thinking that they've made it. They've done everything. They've grown to the point where they don't need anybody anymore. And they've built their Stonehenge. But again, they built their Stonehenge out of paper mache on a sand base, etc. So that's what I want to
Mm.
talk about today is that the people that I see today going as fast as they can, the selective urgency, but they're still building things right. Man, the number one lesson is no matter how much money you have, you cannot speed up time. I've said it multiple times on this podcast. I said it when I was on Andy Frisella's Operator Standard podcast, and he agrees that is the most frustrating part about business because even when you have money, like I have money now, you still can't speed up time. You still cannot make things go faster. You can't. They still need time to progress and they still need time to develop when you're trying to build your Stonehenge. So we're going to talk about that today.
Why do you think people want that instant mastery when they're starting a business?
Social media. That is the only
Mm.
reason why people expect instant mastery. Social media and the idea now that if you build a business, if you're an entrepreneur, it's fun, it's easy, and you're going to make millions of dollars from it. I think there is a turning point now where all of these gurus and entrepreneurs are being burned to the ground and they're being thrown out as frauds, and everybody knows that they're bullshit now. So, that being said, I think that's a huge benefit. People who are really successful to win. But again, it's a speed of people want things now. They look
Mhm.
at the person across from them who's building what's on the outside a multi-million dollar business and they hit eight figures and they hit nine figures and they hit 10 figures like immediately, and people want that. Everybody wants that. People want that, but they don't realize that it takes years and years of not making money and years of grinding and years of like, okay, well, I can't afford this or I can't afford that. I mean, you just don't have a blank check when you build a business, period. So people look at it from the outside and think it's easy, and then when they get into it, they have a rude awakening on it.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. Social media has really changed that. I like to read founders' stories. Like, I think reading books is a valuable, life changing aspect because it's like you really get the inside story as to this person that you're seeing that has reached a certain level of success. You get the backstory. Like, what did they have to go through? How many years did it really take? And in a previous podcast, I was talking about reading Anastasia Beverly Hills, her book. It's called Building Brows because she built her whole business on eyebrows. It's like 25 years. Like, she tells the story over 25 years. It's like
Wow.
it's like she was in it for the long game.
Yeah.
And exactly what we're talking about, if you were to look at her social media, you might just be like, "Oh, she's living this fabulous life and she's surrounded by celebrities." And yeah, she is, but
Hmm.
it took her 2 decades to get there.
Yeah.
So it's like reading stories like that, and I've read a lot of like founders books. The woman that started It Cosmetics, she sold her company for billions of dollars
Mhm.
to L'Oreal, but it was decades. of work and building the brand and then alignments and, and then partnerships and then selling the brand. I
Mhm.
mean, it doesn't happen overnight.
Right.
But I agree, like 100% social media is this like you can even look at them and if you don't read the story or understand the history, you could think like it just happens
Oh,
and
always.
doesn't just happen.
Yeah. People think
Yeah.
it happens overnight because they see the end result and not all the other stuff. Because people don't interact with the other stuff. People don't act with the shitty part of business or the shitty part of growing a business. Um, People don't like to realize that, things that are great, they are going to be built in stages. And people don't want that. People just want the solution, the one all in one box solution for entrepreneurship. This is all you need and you'll be done. But like Stonehenge wasn't a sprint, neither was business. It's like a relay. You go from one person to the next person to the next person, and each generation refined what came before. Each generation improved what came before. And in business, it has to be the same with your product, your process, your brand. I mean, Genesis 15 years ago when Brent started it is not selling what Genesis is was selling 10 years ago, is not selling what Genesis is selling 5 years ago, is not selling what Genesis is selling today on products, services, processes. It's completely different. It's still the same categories. It's still weight loss and hormones and now sexual health, aesthetics, and wellness. It's those 5 pillars, but everything that's in those pillars has changed significantly over the last 5 years even.
And the way you deliver it has changed.
100%. Absolutely. Like
Yeah.
we talked in our last one about AI and delivery and telehealth and all this stuff. So every iteration is going to give you feedback. It's going to give you data and then it's going to bring you closer to the new system, the new pathway, the new mastery of it. Most people will quit before they get to that like final breakthrough. And that's the hard part is that you never know when that final breakthrough is going to happen in any business, in any service. And so you could be spinning your wheels forever on something that'll never work out. And then on the opposite side, you could, take off and grow really fast if you do it well. So again, that's where your studying comes into place. That's where your reading your books come into place. That's where reading history comes into place. So that's where you need to realize that again innovation is one of our core values of Genesis, and that allows us to essentially always be talking about changes and improvements and services that we're doing or things that we're doing that we didn't do before, because that's how you're going to stay relevant in this field.
Yeah. Thinking about what's next, not being complacent or like settling for mediocrity because it's like the next guy's going to pass you up if you
Hmm.
do that. And so staying that just keeps you stuck. How do founders train themselves to think generationally instead of transactionally? So like
Mm.
this right here, right now, I'm going to make this money versus like the strategic approach to generational success.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of tools out there that can help you now in thinking generationally. I mean, you could literally put this question into ChatGPT and say, I am this type of business. Currently, we're doing this revenue. We're providing these services. If you were a mentor teaching me how to think generationally and what aisles or ways or services I should deliver, what would that look like? And it could spit out a whole bunch of answers. So that being said, on the opposite side, just answering that question directly, you have to think not only in what I'm going to do today, but what am I going to do in 6 months? What are we going to do in 12 months? What are we going to do in 5 years? What are we going to do in 10 years?
Mhm.
And you're always going to overestimate what could get done in 1 year, but you're going to underestimate what you can do in 5 to 10 years.
Mm. That's a
And
really great
it's
that's a
it's
really
it's
great
said
statement.
over and over and over, and it's very true because
I don't think I've ever heard that. That's really great.
really? Oh, I
No,
say
I
it all
don't
the
think
time, or at least call circles that I'm in say that all the time because it's true. It's like the same with everybody's business. Where a year you're going to see nothing, 2 years, 3 years you might see nothing, and then year four you might explode. And again, it's you're getting in the reps, you're learning the lessons. The faster you fail and can learn those lessons, the faster you grow. And so founders can think generationally by going back and creating a mission statement or a vision statement and core values that literally cannot be won. And there's this concept of, for very type A personality people, we want to win at something. We want to win and there to be an end at something. But in business and entrepreneurship and in life, there's not an end until your business dies or you die, essentially.
And then the winning is interesting too, because that changes.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I wanted this, but I'm not there yet. So I haven't quite won yet.
Mm-hmm.
So you're just
And
like,
even then, when you win and you start to buy all this cool shit, then you're like, okay, well, this doesn't fulfill me as much as doing things down the line or for other people. With that in mind, you should start with the end. Like, what's the end goal of your business? And a great book at a very simple level to learn this is called Built to Sell, James Rorillo. It's about a gentleman who owns I believe it's a publishing or a writing business. I can't remember exactly what it is, but it's not important. He wants to sell his business for $5 million. And the whole purpose of the book is he gets a mentor, and the mentor pretty much strips his business down to one very good service that's very scalable with a multiple that he knows. And so that book is about him scaling his business, doing, stripping his business down to one service that's replicable, so it's scalable to the point of the exact number he needs, profits, EBITDA, in order to sell it at, I think it's like 4x or 4 or 5x for $5 million. And so the whole purpose of the book is not only to teach the lessons that he got to do that, which is very simple, very straightforward. Once you know lessons about how to make $1 million in business, I mean, you can do it like that. It's very scalable. Just listen to all these fucking podcast episodes and listen to MFCEO, and you'll, again, be able to scale a business to $1 million. It's not hard. Just follow what we said. But you do that. He does that in the book. And then when he gets there, he has the question of like, oh, should I sell it or should I scale it? And he goes back to the mentor, and the mentor's like, what was your goal? He's like, 5 million. Then sell it. Like, you got to the goal that you set, just sell it. And again, that might change, but for him, it didn't. It made sense. Like, that's what his end goal was. That's what that money gave him the ability to do other things. So it was a very simple, and again, that book is like 150 pages or something. It's very simple, straightforward, but it teaches the concepts that's how you live generationally. That's how you figure out what you want to get to. Like, there's a certain number. And then as you educate yourself about money, about wealth, about the ability to use money for you to grow, you'll realize that the number that you actually need is a lot less and less and less in order for you to succeed. It really is.
yeah.
And it just compounds over time faster. So that's how you can do it in your business as well, is think like, how is this business going to out survive me? How is it going to be able to last without me? And so you build a business to sell. You build a business with the systems, the processes, the people in place that if you got hit by a bus, it would function without you, and there would be no slowdown whatsoever.
I remember the first time I had a friend, he asked me, how much money do you want to make in a year? And, I said something just from ignorance, like $1 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, let's map that out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what does that actually look like?
Yeah.
And it was like, really the life I wanted to live was like on 250.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, you've created this huge number, but
Yeah.
you haven't worked backward as to what that actually looks like. And I took that. It was very eye-opening. And then I took that, and I would teach my students that at my permanent makeup academy too. Like, we would go through the financial side, like what life do you actually want to live? And then what does it take? What do you actually need to make to have that life?
Yeah.
And then how many clients do you need to have, or what do you need to do every week?
Yeah.
And take it granular. And it's like very doable. It's like 1 client a day, or, 3 clients a week or something like that. And it's like, it's so tangible at that point. You go, oh, like I've made this idea so big in my head, and it's really not even what it's going to take to live the life I actually want to live.
Yeah.
And
you break those goals down in your business as well. It's like, what do we want to achieve in 5 and 10 years? break them down into your business, and then you realize like, okay, we can hit these goals.
Mm.
And then that's what makes you want to expand your vision, expand your mindset when you look back and say, okay, well, we can do a lot more than this. We
Yeah.
need to do a lot more than this in order to grow.
Yeah, it's a cool space to be in, to explore because, we're in that space right now with stature, and it's like I find when I'm not deep in task mode, like I just allow myself to go to that space of like, what can this be and what does that look like? And then how do we work backward? And how many clinics do we need to sign up as retail partners, and how many customers do we need to have? And I find that to be so fun because it's like it makes it real. And then I go, well, if we can do that in 3 months, well, then we can do way more than that in 12,
Hmm.
and it's like, it allows you to see what's possible where you have these like stretch goals. But I feel like when you have those goals, you hit them faster anyway. And then you go, okay, well, I can do way more than that.
Hmm.
And I was thinking about it last night because I was like, okay, well, when we do that, well, then I need to hire this person or I need to hire that person. And
Yeah.
then that will free me up, which means I'll do more of this, which will make more money. And then
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
all these chess pieces,
Yeah.
It's like, how do you, it's fun. Like to me,
Hmm.
it's fun. But like to what you said, you can have all the money in the world, but that takes time.
Yep.
Like that you can't like flip a switch and all those things happen. Like that's going to take probably less time than what I might even think, but it's still going to take time.
Yeah. Exactly. 100% will.
Yeah. When you take a look and review your own career and things that you've built, it's
All
like,
6.5 years of it.
yeah. I mean, a lot's changed in 6.5 years. Where do you see in your career? And I think this is such a good conversation to be for people to understand where you're on like the second or the third version of what you thought something was going to be. And then something finally clicked and you're like, okay, now we're headed the direction that we really wanted to head at the beginning.
Oh, I think let's see, our telehealth platform. We're on, I think, the 17th version of that. And that had to be developed over time. We had to make sure we got the verticals in place. So we had the compounding pharmacies that we acquired now in place to be able to service the clients, the right front end person, the right back end team that are building that out. So that's an alignment. With our labs and our lab company that we use, that changed. So essentially, my neighbor out here works for, she's the VP of Quest Diagnostics. So she was able to get us, some conversations with Quest for that partnership to come in. I think there's never going to be a second or a third version of anything that works. It's always going to be like the 17th or 18th version of anything. And even then, there's always going to be improvements that you can make in any single system. And so look around at what you're doing in your business. Look for the inefficiencies. The value is in the inefficiencies. Andy Frisella taught me that. And find out where you can improve the systems. Find out where you can have more touch points with your clientele, or you can provide a higher level service with your clientele. But you know, every time we've built something extra, it's been better than it was before. Every new system has been better than it was before. Every new employee has been better than the employee before. It's what got you here will not get you there. And Larry Ellison talks about this where his business, where the people and the type and the community that he had around him that built a $50 million business a year was not the same team that could survive the $1 billion a year business. And he talks about how they scaled Oracle to $1 billion a year, and he still had that $50 million a year team, and they were just like totally over their skis. They could not function that size of a company. And it hurt him because like the people who were loyal and he got him to that point couldn't actually get him to that point at all. They couldn't function at that level because it just takes a different amount of skill, years, etc. And so he had to let some of them go and repurpose some of them. But it's going to be the same with your business in that, and with Genesis, where there's going to consistently be a new switches that turn on, new education that turns on, that gets you to the next level in business and to the next level of knowledge.
Yeah. 100%. When we go back to Stonehenge, it's like, did they ever think it was perfect? They kept adding to it. So it isn't about making it perfect, but like the progress that happened over years to get it to what it is. And we don't know, but I wonder, did the people that started it, did they think it was perfect? Or did they think like, okay, we got it to this level and we've made a ton of progress. And so then the next people come in and, were they trying to make it perfect or were they just like, okay, more progress over the years. And I
Yeah.
and I think it's like a really big shift. I think Mark Cuban is the one that says perfection is the enemy of progress
Mhm.
because it's not about making something perfect, but
Yeah.
it's progressing.
Yeah.
Because what is perfect anyway?
Nothing's going to be perfect, and nothing's going to be perfect in your business. Nothing's going to be perfect in your life. Perfectionism is just, fear wearing productivity's clothing, pretty much. Like, I used to say all the time as a kid, like, oh, I'm a perfectionist. I have to do it a certain way. But business will beat that out of you 100% for sure, because nothing can be perfect. There will always be something that goes wrong with the rollout of anything new or anything different or trying to change. There will be 100%, uh, no, without a doubt, something that goes wrong. Like, literally something that goes wrong. So be okay with that and realize that if you always try and make things perfect on the front side, it's going to kill your momentum on the back side. I mean,
Yeah.
like Brent and I have tried to, again, we haven't tried to make our telehealth system perfect. We've just kind of rolled it out and rolled it out and rolled it out and rolled it out. And we've probably spent, God, now over the last 3 years, because we've been trying to develop it for 3 years and develop the systems for 3 years that couldn't be matched. It's been probably, I mean, we spent millions of dollars to make mistakes, and we still don't have a system that is like what we need it to be yet.
Mm.
And again, it is like, if we just waited all that time, I don't know if we would have learned all the lessons that we've learned so far to get where we are today. Don't scale for perfection, scale for progress, scale for improvement. And like, Genesis Lifestyle Medicine grew fast, but not perfectly. So we grew really big. We had, 80 locations that were affiliates, and then we had to drop down to 47, and now we're at 25. Like, we had to cut out things, we had to add things, we had to improve things, we had to make things better. I had to go through the lessons of more boxes and more brick and mortars is not as good as more profits and profitability. It's not. You could have a whole bunch of boxes and they could just be not profitable. And you could
Mhm.
have locations that are floating other locations and stuff like that. And I had to learn that, well, it wasn't always cool to add and add and add and add. It's better to take away and consolidate focus so you can improve what you do have. I mean, to this day, and I've said it on multiple podcasts in the past, I would rather have, you know, 10 locations that do the volume of 100 locations. I mean, it's less of an ego play now. The ego, Alex, was like, yeah, we need 100 locations. We need to show that we're everywhere. We don't. We don't anymore. And I learned that lesson the hard way, obviously. Don't fucking ask me how. We'll go down the deep end. But I am totally fine now with having 10 locations that do the work and the effort and the income of 100. It is 1/10 the amount of work.
Mm.
It is 1/10 the amount of effort, 1/10 the amount of headache,
Yeah, I was
and
gonna say the
it creates a
stress.
way more valuable company. It does create. I mean, you're at 100 locations versus 10 doing the same thing. You are way more valuable at the 10 locations.
Yeah, I mean, it's a math problem, and I think that's
Hmm.
a good point is you're saying like the ego, Alex, when you look at it from like a feeling standpoint, it sounds great to be like, I have 100 locations. I mean, people go, wow. And I think that's why people scale, kind of going back to the question I asked you before, like, why does everybody want this like instant success? And it's because you see it online, like, or I've got 10 locations or I don't know, even 10 locations. I mean, I think about this because I hear people talk about, well, when do I open my second? When do I open my third? And they want to get to even 10. And it's like, have you optimized the one? Like, are you getting the most out of the one you have? Like schedule, services, upsells,
Mhm.
reach, like, but it sounds exciting
Yeah.
to have 3, 5, 10, multiple states, but it's like, have you done a lot with one? Because I think too, like how you do one thing is how you do all things. And it's like, if you're not going to optimize the one, well, you're going to get to 10. You're not going to know how to optimize those either. So it's just like a waste of time and effort and energy. But it sounds good.
Yeah.
It sounds good to
No,
say
it sounds good to say it. It sounds
it.
good to post it on social media and it feels good. But it from a business standpoint, it's better to make more money with less.
Yeah,
It's
and
100%
sleep
better.
at night
Yeah,
and not be anxiety driven and yeah, all the
absolutely.
things that come with that if it's not done smoothly. But I mean, perfection. I think that's another thing that can add a lot of stress to your plate if you feel like something has to be perfect and you're waiting for that perfection and you're picking apart everything that isn't perfect and you're not seeing yourself because you can look at it both ways. Like if you're not seeing I'm making this progress and that's great because I'm headed forward.
Hmm.
And it's like, if you're stuck in this, like it's not perfect. So you're beating yourself up, like recognizing like it's not ever going to be perfect. But back to Henge, it's never been perfect, but it's a miracle. And like people can't figure out how it even got there. And I mean, I have also heard that vibrationally, it's just like that space is so like magical. And it's like thinking about that, it's almost like makes me think about the cathedrals that get built where it's like hundreds of years before they ever see them finished.
Hmm.
But they're so detailed and they're so beautiful. And, there's a journey from generation to generation to even complete a project that thinking about something being perfect or waiting for something to be perfect to be happy with the progress you're making, I think keeps you away from enjoying life and the process too. And you talked about that, like the journey
Hmm.
in the telehealth stuff. If
Yeah.
you had waited or hadn't done it,
Yeah.
you would have missed the journey. Getting people to slow down and really just enjoy that journey,
Yeah.
it's not easy. I
Yeah.
know it's not
Don't
easy.
fucking ask me. It sucks. Sucks. It sucks. It's gonna suck forever, and you're gonna get kicked in the balls over and over and over, and it's gonna be a shitty ass feeling, and you're not gonna enjoy the journey. So people who say that are fucking liars because it sucks. It's fucking how it is.
Learning how to enjoy the
I hate
journey.
Instagram, and they're like, "Ah, just enjoy the journey." I don't enjoy getting kicked in the dick every day. I fucking don't enjoy it, but it's what you got to do
Well, why do you
in order to
do
win.
it then? Do you enjoy it a little? Because you do it. You
I'm a
keep
little bit of a masochist, right? I keep fucking doing it.
you keep
I keep
doing it.
fucking doing it.
And then you open more businesses
No,
where you gotta do it again
yeah,
and
yeah,
again and
yeah. I
again.
keep fucking creating new businesses. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's just you're right. It's when you look back, it's fun to enjoy it, and it is hard to change your mindset to be like, oh, this is the part. This is the part where people write about where you're almost going bankrupt and we're about to die as a business. Like this will be one of the chapters that it's like, well, we're gonna rise up, and you're like, oh God, I hope we fucking rise up, or
And
else it's just gonna be the end of the book.
and people are gonna love it and they're gonna be like, "Oh my God, what a
Yeah,
hero story."
yeah.
But when you think about what that person actually had to go through in that time,
Mm-hmm.
you're like, "Oh God, yeah."
Mm.
I mean, but when you've gone
It's
through
not
it,
fun. Yeah,
when
I've
you've
gone through
gone
it.
through it, you
Yep.
realize like
It's awful.
everyone's going through that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's not a single man, there is not a single entrepreneur friend that I have that I has a legitimate business that has not been like I need to liquidate everything in my life at one point. I'm about to go bankrupt at one point. Um I have to replace 3/4 of my staff at one point. Like every single one of them that I've talked to that are my mentors have built multi-billion-dollar businesses. Every single one of them have gone through all of that. And it's
Mm.
like when you get into that, some entrepreneurs are like, "Well, why me? Why is this only happening to me?" And it's not. You're just it's like that's welcome to one of the oh god, there's a I can't remember whether it's a book or the funny part, the funny side of it is was it the 7 levels of the gumdrop forest in Elf or whatever where he's talking about all the different things. It's the same in Greek mythology where there's like the 7 levels of hell where it's
Oh,
like
I think I've heard
these
it, yeah.
these are the things that you have to do in order to get to being a like billion-dollar company or a well-established company or even a multi-million dollar company, like you have to go through these 7 fucking things. And if you don't, like it's coming around the corner. It's going to do, you're going to have that problem at some point because everybody you talk to who's at that level, who has hit 8 figures, who has hit 9 figures, they all have the same fucking stories.
Mhm.
Like it just happened in a different way, but they went through
Yeah.
the same gauntlets. And so it's not just you if you're going through it. It's not just you in your career if you're going through it. You have to literally go through these rites of passage in order for you to win. Period. And win
Yeah.
at a high level.